What's up, team, and welcome to week 13 of the 16-week accelerator course. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is our sleep. So listen, everybody knows that we should be sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night. But I think something that gets lost in translation is why that's actually so important for not just your overall health, which for some reason we can kind of like bat our eyes at and be like, I'll be good. Instead, I'll talk about why is it applicable that we sleep well in order to lose body fat, build muscle, and reach our transformation goal. And so what you might not know is that sleep is incredibly pivotal to our fat loss, our muscle gain, and everything in between. And there was actually a study published in 2010, cannot pronounce the person's last name, but they studied the difference between two groups, both in a fat loss intervention. They were both in a calorie deficit. They were both strength training. It was actually a very well done and conducted study. The variable that they changed was one group was sleep restricted by about an extra hour per night, and one group slept between 7 to 9 hours per night consistently. Here's the crazy kicker. The group that slept 7 to 9 hours per night lost significantly more body fat in terms of weight compared to lean body mass, which is our muscle. The group that was sleep restricted lost significantly more muscle mass and not as much body fat. Both groups ended up losing about the same amount of weight on the scale. But when you consider what losing muscle mass does to your metabolism, you'll know at this point, hopefully, that not having that muscle mass is going to set you up for a weight rebound after the diet. Whereas the group that was sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night is going to be set up for long-term weight maintenance. So that's just one example that shows how impactful it can be to get good sleep when you're trying to lose body fat. Let's explain why. So I like to split it up into direct ways and indirect ways that sleep can impact fat loss. So the direct pathways where not getting enough sleep can damage your ability to lose fat, build up your metabolism, and see lasting results would be in the hormonal, performance, and recovery impact. Indirect ways that not getting enough sleep can impact your fat loss are in the cognition and kind of the after effects of the things I'll explain in the direct pathways. So let's explain. When it comes to hormonally, what happens when you don't get enough sleep? It's actually pretty nuts. Even just one night of restricted sleep can change your hormonal profile, specifically with leptin and ghrelin, two hormones that regulate hunger and satiety. Leptin is the hormone that makes you feel full, and ghrelin is the hormone that makes your tummy growl. I like to remember it because your tummy makes the noise grr. One night of bad sleep can dysregulate those, make you more hungry, more susceptible to cravings, and less satisfied after eating meals. On the performance side, not getting enough sleep can actually make you more prone to injury. So there's been a bunch of research to show that sleep deprivation can cause motor coordination impairments, meaning that if you're sleep deprived, you're more likely to twist an ankle or get sloppy with your form or just move in ways that are not safe or optimal compared to how you would move your body if you were fully rested. And everyone knows that if you're injured, you're not able to train towards your goals, make progress building muscle, and be on top of your game. On top of that, when you're sleep deprived, you typically just have less drive and oomph behind you. There are hormonal reasons for this as well as energy reasons for this. And so you're just not going to be getting as much out of your actual sessions in the gym or with your workouts when you're sleep deprived as well, thus leading to less gains, less of a metabolic boost. You see the whole picture here. Lastly, not getting enough sleep can also impair recovery. So recovery from our training, recovery from muscle soreness. If we're not sleeping enough, our body is not going to be able to fully repair, which can lead to, again, propensity for injury, which will have those indirect effects down the line. But also, not fully recovering from our training means that we're not building the muscle that we need to be building in order to boost our metabolism. So these are all the direct ways that our sleep impacts our results. What about indirect? So indirectly, a lack of sleep, we all know what this feels like. We're brain foggy, we're just sort of scatterbrained, and we're more likely to be emotional, we're more likely to not be thinking as clearly, and to be clouded by our tiredness. So indirectly, when we don't have enough sleep, our cognition and our decision making and our ability to make logical, rational, goal-oriented decisions goes down because we're more emotionally driven by our hormones and our fatigue. And so what that can look like when it comes to sabotaging your fat loss is giving into cravings, skipping the gym because you're too tired, and just not making the decisions that you know you're capable of making, but you're not well rested, so it's really hard to overcome that barrier. So all of these things can make it really, really hard for us to see progress the way we want to see it, which is why getting proper sleep is so important. On top of that, there's a crap ton of things that we are doing on the day-to-day basis in our lifestyle that also not only makes it harder for us to get to sleep, stay asleep, but also makes it so that our sleep is lower quality. So then we might even be getting enough sleep, but none of it is the quality that's actually restful. We all know that feeling. We wake up, we don't even feel like we slept a wink. So some of the things that make your sleep quality worse include doom scrolling, watching a lot of TV before bed, but even outside of that, just overall chronic stress levels. If we're super, super stressed out and on edge, that's going to impact our ability to fall asleep and stay asleep, as well as if our body is super stressed out. And so if we are actually over exercising, under eating, and under recovering, then that can also impact our hormonal profile and therefore our ability to fall and stay asleep. So let's get into the good stuff. How the heck do we fix this and how do we get better sleep? So there's a lot of ways that you can layer in sleep hygiene habits to make your sleep better and better over time. My number one recommendation is to pick one of these that resonates with you the most. Start there, work on it for a week or two, and then go from there. A lot of people think, oh, to get better sleep, I just need to go to bed earlier. That's typically just a band-aid on a bullet hole. It's not the actual solution to the problem. So if you want to get your sleep rhythm in a better spot, my advice is to adjust your wake up time and to be very, very strict on waking up at the exact same time every single day. And if you're not already doing that, that can help you fall asleep earlier and earlier, as long as you're strict with that wake up time. If you're already waking up at the same time and you have crap sleep, then here's a couple of more tips that can help you. Number one, do something about your phone and the screens. So you can get blue light blocking glasses to wear if you are going to watch TV or be on your phone before bed. Sometimes it's unavoidable, so at least have that in place. But on top of that, with your phone, you can turn your phone to grayscale. I'll include a link below that'll allow you to see the settings of how you can change that in your accessibility settings. This completely kills the urge to keep scrolling because it really is all the colors on the apps that we use that draws us to opening them again and again. In addition, make sure that you do turn on the night mode on your phone after a certain hour so the blue light exposure becomes less as a whole. A couple really simple things you can do are also reducing the temperature of your home. So most people sleep best between 66 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and a lot of us, if we're too hot, are not going to be able to sleep well. I'd also recommend having white noise. So you can get a white noise maker for your room. You can actually play it off of your phone, but something like that or a fan can help you to avoid being in total silence and can be very soothing for the mind. Lastly, your actual light exposure can really help too. So the light that you get in the morning, as well as the lack of light that you see in the evening. So when you wake up, get sunlight first thing. This is a very proactive way to set your circadian rhythm and fall asleep at the right times. So when you wake up, get morning sunlight. And if you're in an area that you just can't get a lot of sunlight or it's really gloomy all the time, get something like a happy light. You can get fake sunlight in your face in the morning every single day. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it's close enough to where your body's hormonal cascade and waking response will be the same with something like that. And then at the end of the day, make sure that your room is actually dark. Use blackout curtains. If it's not, make sure to turn all the lights off, keep screens off, and make sure your room is dark and cozy in that way too. Two other habits that I really like are number one, managing your caffeine cutoff time. So caffeine is super controversial, but the best way to be safe rather than sorry is to cut your caffeine intake off around lunchtime. Some people digest it faster or slower, and some people say, oh, I have caffeine before bed and I don't even feel it. The reality is that it's affecting you whether you feel it or not. And a lot of us get very desensitized to caffeine, especially when we've been drinking it for decades. So cut your caffeine off around noon, and I promise you it will make a huge difference. difference. Lastly, this one is for my ruminators, my overthinkers, the ones where stress is really getting in the way of you getting proper sleep. And that is doing what I call a brain dump. I love this strategy, and it really does help when the thing that's keeping you from falling asleep is your mind racing and running through all the things you have to do tomorrow, all the things on your to-do list, all the things that you're afraid of forgetting, and it's preventing you from getting the good sleep that you need. And every time you check the clock, it's like, oh my gosh, now I lost even more sleep. I gotta get to bed, and the pressure builds. So a brain dump is taking a piece of paper 5 minutes before bed, just writing out everything that is on your mind, everything you're afraid of forgetting, everything that you think is gonna be relevant tomorrow or that you would stay up thinking about. Take the time to write all that out. What that does is it gives you the peace of mind that it will be there on your bedside table tomorrow. You'll wake up, you'll be able to flip the piece of paper over, and you'll not have to worry about forgetting something over your sleep. That strategy has been incredibly effective for my type A ladies who have a lot on their plate and have a lot going on. So definitely give the brain dump a try if you've been really stressed lately. Now, I also want to touch on a couple of supplements that I really love for improving sleep. Number one is going to be ashwagandha root extract, otherwise known as KSM 66. And this is a natural supplement that I personally have been an advocate for years. I'll include the examine.com link so you can look at the research, the safety, the efficacy of the supplement as well. But myself and hundreds of clients have used this to improve their sleep. What ashwagandha root does is it helps your body naturally regulate its cortisol's rhythm. So when you go to sleep, your cortisol should be at its lowest before bed. And when you wake up, your cortisol naturally rises to wake you up and basically kick off the waking process. When our cortisol is dysregulated, maybe from chronic stress or from hormonal imbalances, sometimes our cortisol is too high at night and too low in the morning, which can lead to us not falling asleep as well as being really groggy when we wake up and having trouble getting out of bed. And so if you are struggling with what might feel like cortisol dysregulation, you can try ashwagandha to help with that. You're basically going to want to take anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams of ashwagandha. That is the clinical effective dose, about an hour or so before bed. That should help with lowering cortisol and actually helping you get to sleep and stay asleep. Another supplement that I love is magnesium. I take a magnesium biglycinate powder before bed, and it has also helped with the restfulness of my sleep and the ability to wake up and feel like I actually slept really, really well. And I have noticed a really great difference with that. And it does help with overall stress regulation in the body. This is a wonderful mineral that has become very popular over the years. So I'll include the examine.com research review of it as well, but I'll also include brands that I enjoy in the description of this video below so that you can check them out and see if they help with your sleep as well. I just take a scoop of the product that I'll recommend below, 200 milligrams before bed in some water, and it's a great way to finish off my night and get some amazing rest. Lastly, here's a question that I get all the time is, can you make up for lost sleep? And a lot of people have recently been saying, no, you can't make up for lost sleep. You either get your 8 hours or you don't get it at all and you're screwed. And the reality is the answer always lies somewhere more in the middle. And so the answer to this question is that yes, you can make up for lost sleep, but it's not going to quite replace the quality of getting 8 hours a night every single night. The best thing that you can possibly do for your fat loss, your hormonal health, and your health as a whole is to get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night by following all of these guidelines. But if you can't do that for whatever reason, you have a bad week of sleep, or maybe you're a new mom and you're just in that season of life, then the best thing you can do is try to make up for sleep wherever you can, because taking little naps here and there, as long as they don't interfere with your ability to go to sleep later, will be helpful in catching up in sleep. The problem becomes when you nap and it becomes a midday sleep and then it actually impacts your sleep later. That is where I'd be wary and tread lightly on that one. All right, so that is sleep in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this module. Again, make sure to just pick one strategy that you feel really resonated with you to improve your sleep. Let your coach know which one you're going to be trying, and let us know if you have any questions about anything in the video.